Good evening. Hello. This is Political Forum for Wednesday, September 28th. Today we welcome the 6th Ward Alderman, Roderick Sawyer. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for appearing on our Political Forum show, Alderman. My name is Freddie Calixto. I'm a board member here at CAN TV. You're watching a live interactive program brought to you as a community service by CAN TV. Be sure to tell your friends that they can also watch this show online at cantv.org/hotline. We welcome your questions and comments for Alderman Sawyer by calling us at 312-738-1060. During the next 25 minutes, we'll try to get as many of your calls as possible on the air. So if you want to call us, please call 312-738-1060, and we'll get started. So welcome, Alderman.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. The 6th Ward, you want to give us a little description of the 6th Ward?
Certainly. The 6th Ward encompasses a few community areas which include Chatham, Park Manor / Greater Grand Crossing, Inglewood, portion of Auburn Gresham, and a portion of Chesterfield.
And I'm going to try to put this over here so we can see the map. That's the map that you just described, if that's correct. And then I'm going to switch it for a quick minute just to show you the most recent actually taking effect tomorrow, you said?
Well, the move is tomorrow. We're open back in the office. There you go.
Ooh, sorry.
Back in the office on Wednesday. You know, we're going to be moving. Our moving day is tomorrow. We're moving to a new location, 700 East 79th Street, which is the corner of 79th and Langley. And, you know, obviously we've got some moving to do and situation. So over the weekend, we'll be getting ourselves situated. By Wednesday, we should be operational with phone systems, everything working again.
Great. Well, that's good. I'm glad we got you in during this busy time that you're in. So how are things going on in the ward?
Things in the ward are moving along fine. You know, we always have challenges, but we always have opportunity.
Right.
A couple of the things we're about to announce a few initiatives. We're still working on a workforce development center on 79th Street. We have the impending announcement of the Fleet and Facilities Management moving to the south side to the 67th and Wentworth corridor. Also with a training center and retail development in that area we're very excited about. We have the upcoming announcement of what the city is calling Thrive Zones, which will be in 2 areas of the city of Chicago. Out of the 8, we have 2. One on 75th Street between Michigan and Eberhard. One on 79th Street on St. Lawrence, between St. Lawrence and just east of Cottage Grove. So, and those are some incentive areas where they're going to be investing some additional capital there so that we can encourage new business and also assist existing businesses in those areas.
Well, that sounds like something that's going to be great for the ward.
It is. It will.
And that's something that we were just talking about. that I saw in the news this morning, the grand opening that we were just talking about, Whole Foods.
I'm really excited about the Whole Foods opening. It's thanks to the 16th Ward, to the efforts of Alderman Tony Folks, and also the efforts of, may she rest in peace, the former Alderman Joanne Thompson, who had collaboratively worked on getting Whole Foods into the Inglewood area. I'm great. I feel great as if it was in my ward because I'm only a couple of blocks away, and I'm hoping that it will spur economic development up and down the Halsted corridor so that we can continue the growth that Whole Foods is experiencing. I would also like to give a shout out to Leon Walker, the developer, the owner of the Inglewood Square. He's a landlord, African-American gentleman that's been doing great work in the area, and I'm hoping to be continuing to work with him soon on upcoming developments in the ward.
Well, great. That sounds great. Thank you for that information.
Yes.
Callers, I encourage you to call 312-738-1060 with any questions you have for the Alderman. This is a topic that's pretty hot. It's been, everybody's talking about it. The whole city, the violence in the city of Chicago, law enforcement, the recent announcement that was made by the mayor of an additional 500 to 1,000 new police officers. Can you talk a little bit about that, what you think about that? Is that going to help us deal with these issues, or what else you think is needed for the 6th Ward?
Certainly, and this is really a citywide issue. I want to be clear and people to understand the implementation of the new officers are not going to stop crime in and of itself. What this is, and I take it akin to, let's say football, since this is football season. A fully functioning football team has 53 players. So you're not fully staffed unless you have 53. Right now, our police department is woefully understaffed. I'm not saying that this will combat or cure crime, but for example, if you make a 911 call and you're complaining that the officers don't come for an hour and a half,
Yes.
that's a staffing problem. That's a problem that we're hoping to achieve by adding the additional officers that will fully function the police department. That's all we're saying. We're not saying this is a curative problem. The problem to cure crime is a much deeper issue than just adding police officers. We need to add, that would include social programs, that would include mental health assessment and evaluation, job opportunities, educational opportunities. All of that is combined together to really combat crime, combat the violence that we're having in our communities. Police alone do not solve the problem.
I believe that's absolutely true. There's a multifaceted approach
Absolutely.
to creating this cure to violence, and it takes a while. I mean, education is critical.
Absolutely it is.
And unfortunately, we struggle in this city with education. And most recently, just today, the Chicago Teachers Union just announced a possible strike.
Yes.
Next week. I think it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks from
October
now.
11th
Yes.
is a strike date. If things don't get fixed between then, and what's your take on that? And how's that going to affect the children in the 6th Ward?
Well, when we look at these types of issues, when we talk about possible work stoppages, I want us to make sure that we first and foremost think about the children that it affects. We're talking about some 400,000 children that may be without adequate education during that period of time. Trust me, I do understand the plight that the teachers are going through. I do sympathize with the teachers and understand that, but I want all those involved, both administration, teachers, administrators, to understand that their primary objective is the education of our children, and we need to keep that in focus before we make any rash decisions.
Great. We have a caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Hi, I wanted to ask, how is the impending budget affecting the 6th Ward specifically?
Okay.
The impending budget, the upcoming budget?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. A couple of things. Well, one, we are looking at trying to get additional programming for the 6th Ward in particular, since we're talking about what's going to happen in the ward. As I mentioned previously, part of the budget will include us implementing new Thrive Zones, which will be multiples of millions of dollars coming to make investments in our particular community. As I stated previously, 2 of those zones will be in the 6th Ward, both on 75th and 79th Street. Part of that is we're hoping to encourage and get new businesses in our area, particularly retail. One of the things that we're lacking, and I don't know if you're a 6th Ward resident or not, but one of the things that I'm frustrated with is that we don't have a lot of the businesses that we should have for a thriving community, and particularly, let's just say food. And that's one of my, as I'm not a small guy, so you'll see that I enjoy eating and I enjoy going out to places. So when I look at my area and I say that I only have 1, maybe 2 soul food restaurants in my area, no Creole restaurants, no sports bars, nothing of that where you can dine and bring friends in to entertain yourselves, that's a problem to me. And particularly since I know we have the disposable income that will allow for that to happen if we had those businesses. But I don't want money to continue to go out of the 6th Ward, out of the city of Chicago, to other areas. When I talk to my constituents, they go to Orland Park, they go downtown, they go to even Hyde Park to do things, to shop and to entertain themselves. We need to focus those areas and those dollars in our community so that we can generate the sales tax revenue so that businesses can employ and hire individuals in our area so that we can make a difference, both infrastructure and the bricks and mortar businesses in our area, to really make a change. So it's not a direct budget item, but when we talk about budgeting, we want to talk about how we grow budgets. And we grow budgets by one of the reasons, by the addition of sales tax revenue. So we need to be playing our fair share in that. Sixth Ward needs to be expanding our business corridors so that we can continue to make money, earn money in the form of sales tax revenue so that we can add to the bottom line.
Great caller, thank you for that question. Well, along the lines of the previous conversation with the police, the new civilian police accountability that's being talked about.
Yes.
What's your take on that, and where do you think the city is with that right now?
Right now, they're close to putting together an agreement. I know that there have been several options out there regarding police accountability. My position was that we adequately fund whatever organization it is, whether it's IPRA, now it's COPA. I know that my colleagues and friends have other ordinances out that we're trying to put together and make sure that we accommodate everything in there. I just had a briefing recently that we will include a floor, a base floor, for the funding of the department. So that funding proposal is 1% of the non-grant budget of the Chicago Police Department, which the Chicago Police Department non-grant budget is approximately $1.4 billion. So that would make the minimum base funding for the new organization to be approximately $14 million, which is not quite double what their existing budget is right now. So that gives them the resources necessary to hire additional investigators, bring in those professionals that need to do the work, infrastructure, and it does not include the additional money that they may need for new equipment, new software, things like that. So one of my concerns was to adequately fund this department. I think they've gone a long way toward addressing that. One of my other concerns was that we had, the organization, the department had the ability to hire outside counsel, which was a part of the new substitute ordinance that's going to be filed. So I'm encouraged by what's going on. I think there's some additional tweaks that need to be made to the ordinance to make it workable. And I know people have always asked about the community portion, which was stated all along that the community portion was going to be part of a longer discussion that we're going to probably end up doing first part of the year, because that would include how we hire the head of the new department and some other important, very, very important issues that we want more community involvement to be associated with.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because that's one of the things that I hear a lot is the community wants more input in that process.
And they should have that.
Yes, great. We encourage you to call 312-738-1060 with a call for the alderman. Let's keep going here. I got another question that you recently talked about. There was a recent investigation on wage theft at O'Hare Airport. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. And I want to thank my partners at SEIU Local 1 who had brought this to our attention. There's been a rash of incidents of underreporting income, not paying the appropriate wage associated with the individual's jobs, and outright wage theft out at the O'Hare Airport with the businesses that exist out there. I want to thank SEIU for shining a light on that. Me and the members, both of the Progressive Caucus and the Black Caucus, are focusing on that, and we've asked for hearings to make sure we expose that, and the businesses that are perpetuating this wage theft, we want them investigated and, if necessary, removed out of the airport. There's no place for not paying the proper wage, not paying overtime, not paying what commensurate with the work that's being done out there. It's adding up to millions and millions of dollars of unpaid wages that's deserving to those that work there, some of which are woefully underpaid, and we need to address that right now before it gets out of hand.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. We have a caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Yes, good evening. Earlier you mentioned about police staffing concerning the city's violence, and that it's one part, but not the only part to the answer in solving the city's violence. So, in your in your own words, what else is needed? Do you think that'll help the city's violence epidemic? Because I believe that not all police officers are bad, and not all community members are violent. So, how do we get all parties to kind of clear the slate and get down to solving the problem?
Thank you for that call. And again, I agree with you 100%. As I stated previously, we need a variety of things. We know Sheriff Tom Dart consistently states that he runs the largest mental health institution, which is the Cook County Jail. That has to stop. We need to provide proper assessment and treatment for those that are experiencing mental health issues. And I think that starts on a younger age than I think we're looking at right now. If we do proper assessment early on, we can identify things as simple as maybe dyslexia that's leading up to more serious problems. We need work in job training programs that really lead to a job, not those that just give pie in the sky promises to individuals and not produce. We need after school and mentoring programs. I know the mayor is big on BAM, and I don't have necessarily a problem with BAM, but there's so many other great organizations on the ground doing work. Black Star Project, Dovetail Project, Breaking Bread. There's so many other programs that are out there that have been doing the work. They need to be adequately resourced and, if necessary, organized so that they can accept those resources. We want to make sure that we're hitting on all cylinders. We can't leave anything unturned right now. And if I'm missing something right now, please forgive me, but I want to make sure that it's a full, total encompassing of all of that. So if we're spending $100 million on police, quite honestly, we should be spending that amount on a variety of things I just mentioned and maybe even more. We need to make an investment in Chicago that makes sure that the residents are getting what they deserve and that we have an alternative to violence in our communities. Nothing beats, someone thinking about violence than the opportunity to have a job. And at the end of the day, a job where they're earning money and they're being a productive citizen. Everybody wants that, and I fervently believe that.
Caller, thank you for that question. We have another caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Alderman Sawyer, when we talk about civilian review board, police review board, it's very misleading because all the people that's going to be on the board, they are former law enforcement officers. If you had someone like a Father Flager or Miss Janet Wilson out there in Chicago, where we all know and something about it, and plus they don't get their budget from the Chicago Police Department, how can you say it's going to be the new and improved?
Well, again, the discussion about the community board has not been finalized yet, and I don't believe that it will encompass the same makeup as, I think you may be talking more like the police board, which are maybe former law enforcement individuals. What we're looking at is a more encompassing board, more community-centered and focused. And of course, somebody like Jeanette Wilson, who I know very well, would be an ideal potential member. Father Flager would be a wonderful member. And there are a lot of others. For example, I'd like to think that we get former gang members on the board that have been producing productively in the city of Chicago over many years. I want people that have life experience on the board as opposed to just law enforcement. And I think that's part of that continuing discussion that we're going to have as it relates to the community board. I think it's far too important to kind of rush it. Quite honestly, I'm not in a big rush to do the new police entity, whatever you may want to call it. I think it's something that should be carefully discussed. All options should be considered, and we do it right once and for all, and not do it piecemeal where it may some issues may fall through the cracks.
Thank you for that caller. We have another caller on the line. What is your question?
God bless your heart.
God bless you.
Hey, first I want to thank the alderman for being the alderman. I just wanted to say my issue is against the NRA, and the issue is guns. I want to know, why is it so easy to get guns on the south side?
Good question. I wish I can answer that question, but it perplexes a lot of us. Trust me. When I look at these social media posts where I see children with AR-15s with 30-round clips, and I Google and just find out how much a gun like that would cost. I don't know much about guns, but when I see these guns are $2,000 and $3,000, I wonder myself, how do these are children, 14, 15, 16 years old, how can they afford these types of guns? I don't like to sound conspiratorial, but maybe I should. I think the guns are being planted on us. If you really want to talk about this, and I know it's not a popular discussion, but I say that those that don't have our best interests would be more interested in giving us guns and killing ourselves than them doing it themselves. So I talk about that a lot. I think that since there's an avenue for legitimate, responsible gun owners, we need to start clamping down on illegal guns, illegal trafficking of guns. We need to find out where these guns are and stop that flow coming into the city of Chicago.
Thank you for that call, that question, caller. We have another caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Hello.
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 Hi. So my question is this. I'm an alum of McDade Elementary, which is a selective enrollment school, and I have a classmate of mine who now is trying to get her daughter into the school, and she was telling me that she was a little dismayed by the lack of selective enrollment elementary schools on the south side of the city. And she said when she inquired about why there were so few, she was told that parents on the south side aren't demanding them. As if, like the need for the quality public education isn't there. And parents on the south side may not be able to, have the leverage of, if my kid can't go to a grade A school, I'm moving out of private. So I kind of wanted to get the Alderman's take on that, as well as recommendations for what can happen.
Thank you for that call. If you don't know, I was LSC chair for McDade for approximately 10 years before I ran for alderman. And McDade Classical was one of the highest ranked schools in the city, and one of the schools that was toughest to get in. For the 25 kindergarten spots at McDade Classical, we would get almost 3,000 applicants for those 25 slots. So for anyone to say that parents don't care in our area, not just the 6th Ward, but just general South Side, they're mistaken and they're misinformed. We do have other wonderful schools in the area, not just in the 6th Ward. We have Dixon Elementary, which has been ranked a 1+ school, as well as McDade. McDade is no longer in the ward any longer, but I kind of consider it still a 6th Ward favorite because I served there for so long. We have other schools on the south side, Lennart, which is just across the bridge, which is also a 1+ school. We do have schools, but and I've asked the mayor and I've talked to the CPS about getting more high quality and maybe even selective enrollment schools. But this is the issue with selective enrollment that I have a little bit of a problem with. I like it, but I'm hoping that we can get all of our schools to be high quality schools. Like a Dixon. Dixon is a neighborhood school, and it's also a 1+ school in the community. I want us to have more high quality local neighborhood option schools where our kids don't have to fight over a small 25 seats in a selective enrollment.
Thank you for that question, caller. Alderman, the time is running out. We're almost out of time. Is there anything?
Real fast,
it flies really fast. I know we talked about RAGE. You want to talk a little bit about that in your ward?
Oh, absolutely. RAGE, Resident Association of Greater Englewood, is a resident-based community group on the Englewood portion of not just the 6th Ward, but encompasses 5 wards in the city of Chicago. The Englewood area is such a large area. 5 aldermen represent portions of it. I work very closely with the group. Aisha Butler is the chairman and one of the founders. They're very collaborative in what they do. They do things like So Fresh Fridays over this past summer. They're active in arts and culture in the ward. They're doing a lot of great things, and I commend them all the time. An organization I think people should be more involved with. So if you live on the Englewood area of the 6th Ward or any of the wards that encompasses the Englewood general area, I would suggest that you take a look at RAGE and see what they're doing.
Great, thank you. Let me try to show your website for anybody that's interested in finding out more about the alderman. in his ward. You can go on his website. At the bottom of the website, you can sign up for newsletter alerts here. Very helpful. And again, here is his contact information. The new address, 700 East 79th Street. And there is the website that you can log into.
And I really appreciate that. I'm very excited about the move. We have a larger facility now with the new location. We'll be able to host more meetings and do a lot more. I'm hoping to put a lot more programming in our office now that we have the additional space.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that, again, to have you here during this busy time of the move. Is there anything else that you want to share about the 6th Ward before we leave this show tonight?
Again, very briefly, I want to make sure that we know that the 6th Ward is on the move. A lot of exciting things are happening in the area. I will be attending the International Conference on Shopping Centers Deal Makers Symposium in October for 2 days, trying to, again, lure more retail to the 6th Ward. I've been getting a lot of positive response in my preliminary discussions, so we're very excited about all of that, and stay tuned for more to come in the 6th Ward and the city of Chicago.
Well, great. Thank you so much for that. And we still got a couple of minutes. You want to talk about anything else that's been happening recently in the summer, like door-to-door visits that you do, or the Good Neighbors Award?
Really, well, the Good Neighbors Award is actually really great. It was on our website, for example. We try to highlight local businesses in our area, and this month we highlighted Callahan Funeral Home, who not only is a wonderful business in the area, but also contributes so much. That's the topic. It'll circle to that in a moment.
Okay.
With the Callahan Foundation, he does so much to benefit the community, and we really appreciate all the efforts he does. The Callahan family is a wonderful family in the ward. They contribute all the time, and they're, I can say, good neighbors. They're wonderful people.
That's why they got the award.
That's why they got the award.
And what about your door-to-door?
We have, during the summer months, we try to do remote office locations, so we'll go where people are instead of them having to come to our office. So we go to a variety of locations, businesses in the area, and set up our remote office, and it's always a fun time to be where they are.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us this evening on Political Forum. This is Political Forum, and we thank all the callers for your questions. I'd like to thank the viewers, and also our telephone technician has been Sylvia, so thank you for taking the calls. Political Forum is brought to you as a community service by CAN TV. So please join us every Wednesday night here at 7 p.m. on CAN TV 21. And you can also join by CAN TV, going to the website, cantv.org/hotline. Thank you very much. We're about done. We're wrapping this show up. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.